Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. As the calendar turns to August, Massachusetts COVID cases remain some of the lowest in the country. As a result, arts and entertainment venues are running, although with many restrictions in place. This episode will be discussing several events going on in the town of North Adams, as well as histories of two of Pittsfield's most iconic tourism destinations. First, it's time for this week's trivia question, which will be answered at the end of the show. This week's question is, which famed painter's works at the Berkshire Museum were part of a massive art scandal in 2017 and 2018? Now, for this week's local entertainment headlines. The town of North Adams made the decision to cancel the popular Fall Foliage Parade. The fate of the parade, which is held every October, was up in the air for quite some time before officials made the decision. The amount of people attending the parade, which can reach numbers of 20,000, was too much. This marks the first time the parade has been canceled since 1987. When a freak snowstorm happened the day of the parade. When asked about the cancellation, North Adams Mayor Thomas Bernard stated in part, quote, "Every decision we have made in the interest of protecting public health and public safety in response to the COVID-19 pandemic comes at a cost to our community. I know we will all miss the floats, the great school marching bands, and the chance to see our friends and neighbors along the parade route, but I also look forward to seeing that energy and display and spirit on display next year when North Adams hosts our next parade." Additionally, North Adams also made the decision to cancel the Greylock, Ramble, and Ramblefest. These events coincide with the Fall Foliage Parade and are very popular within the North Adams community. One Berkshire, who helps put on the events, said in a statement, quote, "It is disappointing for this region of the Berkshires, but a necessary decision. We're hopeful that 2021 will return these traditions in even bigger and better ways." Moca is reopening and now holding outdoor concerts. On August 22nd, Dominican singer Yasser Tejada will be performing alongside his band Pelote. Tejada is a Brooklyn-based guitarist and composer, known for combining many different musical genres, including R&B, gospel, jazz, funk, and traditional Dominican folk music. Their latest album, Kinjomo, came out last year. Yasser Tejada will be playing at Courtyard D at Moca on Saturday, August 22nd at 8:30 p.m. Tickets will go on sale starting August 12th at Moca's website. They will be $25 in advance and $35 the day of. All audience members must wear masks, and patrons must bring their own chairs, placing them in designated areas. Tickets must be purchased online, not in person, and patrons must have their e-tickets available on their phone for scanning. Restrooms are adjacent to Courtyard D and follow one-way foot traffic patterns. The concert will be held, rain or shine, but the COVID-19 crisis could change dates. The installation space at 49 Eagle Street in North Adams reopened to the public on July 24th. This popular art gallery features, according to its website, quote, "immersive, interactive, interpretive, and informative art exhibits. This is an excellent place for up-and-coming artists to show their work." Currently on display is the exhibit Eutronia by Berkshire and Brooklyn-based artist Jason Verone. This explores the interaction of data and the physical world through traditional paintings and digital projections. When discussing the exhibit, Verone said, quote, My experiences with technology have informed my relationship to the natural landscape, and by extension to painting. I'm interested in the information ecosystem we have created for ourselves, and how extensively it has infiltrated and degraded our habitat. The installation space is open every Saturday and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eutronia will be on display until August 30th. Admission is free for all guests, and patrons are asked to follow social distancing regulations, stay 6 feet apart, and wear masks. In a previous episode of WWHEN, I discussed how Barrington Stage Company was planning on putting on the one-man show, Harry Clark, beginning on August 5th. While the play is still going on, it will now take place under a tent on the grounds of the Polish Club at 55 Linden Street in Pittsfield, instead of the Boyd Quinson main stage as planned. This was due in part to the delay of Massachusetts going into Phase 3, Step 2, which would allow indoor theater productions. Artistic director Julianne Boyd expressed both joy in doing the show and disappointment in not being able to hold the show indoors, saying in part, quote, "We're happy to be doing the show because it's such a fabulous show. We would have loved to have do it indoors because we worked really hard and have made substantial changes that could lead the way for other indoor theaters," end quote. Tickets for Harry Clark are currently available at barringtonstageco.org/singles tickets. They are readily available except for the August 9th showing, which is sold out. Tickets cost $30 for adults and $25 for youths on the preview performances of August 5th, 6th, and 7th, while tickets for the remaining productions cost $65 for adults and $25 for youths. Additionally, Mr. Finn's Cabaret has also been moved outdoors. This year's theme is Rodgers and Hammerstein, and will feature songs from two of Broadway's most famous composers, whose works include South Pacific, Carousel, The King and I, and more. The Cabaret was scheduled to run August 19th through the 23rd, but the company recently added performances August 25th through the 29th. Tickets for these performances cost $100 and are limited, especially for the August 19th through 23rd run. Wehry Drive-In Theater in Great Barrington has announced their entire August lineup. The theater will be running movies Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Here is their complete list. August 6th, Beetlejuice. August 7th and 8th, The Princess Bride. August 13th, American Graffiti. August 14th, The Shape of Water, which will be held in partnership with the Berkshire International Film Festival. August 15th, Grease. August 20th, The Never-Ending Story. August 21st and 22nd, Jurassic Park. August 27th, Little Shop of Horrors. And August 28th and 29th, Mary Poppins. All of these films will be taking place at 9:00 p.m. Visit the Wehry Theater's website for more information and safety regulations. It's now time for this week's history portion of WWHEN. Our first destination this week is the Herman Melville Arrowhead at 780 Holmes Road in Pittsfield. It is currently open to the public Thursdays through Mondays from 10 to 4. Tours will be given every 2 hours. Please call ahead for more information. Herman Melville is one of New England's most famous authors. Among his classic books include Billy Budd and, most famously, the whale novel Moby Dick. As stated in previous episodes of WWHEN, Melville has a deep connection to the city of Pittsfield. It began in 1850 when he bought the then Brewster Farm, located at the current Arrowhead location. It was in dire straits by the time Melville had bought it, and he restored it frequently. In some of his many letters, Melville wrote about how he had been working on the farm, writing in part, quote, "I have been building some shanties of houses connected with the old one, and likewise some shanties of chapters and essays. I have been plowing and sowing and raising and printing and praying, and now it is beginning to come out upon and less bristling time." End quote. Some of Melville's changes included adding a porch, outbuildings, and several other extensions to the house itself. Melville lived in the house until his death in 1891, after which he sold it to his brother. Many different owners lived in the house after Melville's death, both relatives and strangers. Owners continued Melville's love of restoration, but changed the shape of the house completely. By the time the Berkshire County Historical Society purchased the house in 1975, it was unrecognizable. For instance, Melville's library, where he wrote Moby Dick, had been converted into a small bedroom. There was an outrage in the literary world once this was discovered, and the Berkshire County Historical Society restored it to its Melville-era appearance in 1976. Today, Arrowhead contains many works from Herman Melville. Visitors can learn about Melville's life, works, and connections to Berkshire County. Inside Arrowhead is the Margaret H. Hall Library and Archives. This contains thousands of letters, pictures, photographs, and more from the famed author. This archive is available for appointment by public use. For non-members, the charge is $15 per hour. If you are at all interested in looking up archives from the famous author, visit the website shown here. Our second history stop is the Berkshire Museum, located on 39 South Street in Pittsfield. As discussed last week, it is currently open, but social distancing guidelines are in place and masks must be worn. There are also specific rules for when members and non-members of the museum can visit. Go to berkshiremuseum.org for more information. In 1903, Dalton papermaker and businessman Zenas Crane wanted to blend attributes of three of the most famous museums in America: the Museum of Natural History, the Smithsonian, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Crane was invested into the Berkshire community and decided Pittsfield would be the best possible place to kickstart the museum. He actively sought out art and artifacts for the original museum and encouraged others to bring theirs as well. For instance, some of the earliest acquisitions were those from the Hudson River School and paintings from Albert Bierstadt and Frederick Edwin Church. Also, equipment from the first successful trip to the North Pole was donated, as Zenas Crane actually helped fund the trip. Many famous painters and sculptors have donated their work. One of the Berkshire Museum's most popular attractions is its aquarium, which is located below the museum's lobby level. There are over 35 tanks, and the animals range from seahorses and clownfish to boa constrictors and geckos. The museum also serves as a host to red-bellied cooters, a type of turtle that was in danger of being extinct. However, due to the Berkshire Museum's help, the population has increased from about 300 to over 2,000. Another popular event that goes on every year is the Festival of Trees. Each year, more than 100 holiday displays are shown to the public throughout the museum. They are donated by local schools, businesses, and organizations. The event has been going on since 1985 and each year has a different theme. Last year's was Heroes, which focuses on different types of heroism, both real and fictional. The Berkshire Museum also provides the answer to this week's trivia question. As a reminder, this week's question was, which famed painter's works at the Berkshire Museum became the subject of a massive art scandal in 2017 and 2018? The answer is Norman Rockwell. The art scandal that occurred at the Berkshire Museum is complex and varied, and caused much debate on both sides. The story started off fairly quietly. In July 2017, the Berkshire Museum's Board of Directors announced a plan to sell the most significant portion of their art, which included 2 Norman Rockwell paintings, Blacksmith's Boy Heel and Toe, and Shuffleton's Barbershop. They contacted famed auction house Sotheby's with a total of 40 pieces. Where the controversy began was when the Berkshire Museum began moving out the art pieces before the sale was officially announced, and officials refused to name the paintings that were sold. Many members of the Berkshire Museum were against it, as were descendants of Norman Rockwell, who donated Rockwell's pieces with the promise that it would always remain at the museum. Many hearings occurred between November 2017 and April 2018. Finally, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court ruled in favor of the Berkshire Museum sales. However, the court condemned the actions of the Berkshire Museum moving out the art before the official announcement. Currently, both of the Norman Rockwell paintings are on loan at the Norman Rockwell Museum in Stockbridge. That ends this week's episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. You can watch this week's episode on PCTV Channel 1301, CTSB TV Channel 1301, and NBCTC Channel 1301. Airtimes on all 3 of these networks vary. Visit the websites shown here for more information. Thank you.